The night was quiet in the city. Most people were asleep, but one man sat alone in his small apartment. His name was Dr. Elias Ward, a communication engineer who worked with deep space listening devices. His job was simple: monitor signals from the stars, decode static, and report if anything unusual was detected. Usually, the work was boring. Nothing ever came. Just endless waves of noise, static, and random pulses from space. But Elias had learned patience. He believed that one day, the universe would whisper back. That night, the whisper came. Elias leaned closer to his console when a strange pattern appeared on the screen. It was not random static. The signal was structured, sharp, timed, almost like a language. His heart raced. He adjusted the frequency, cleaned the distortion, and slowly the sound became clearer. At first, it was just noise. Then, voices. But these were not human voices. The tone was sharp, layered, and filled with strange clicks and hisses. Yet, with every passing second, Elias realized something terrifying. This was a conversation. He started recording immediately, hands trembling. The translation software struggled, but after minutes of filtering, words began to form on his screen. The first sentence froze his blood. The humans are unaware. The plan begins soon. Elias's throat went dry. He checked again. It was not an error. The voices repeated the same thing. He listened more carefully. The speakers were not on Earth. The signal came from deep space, far beyond the moon. Whoever they were watching. The conversation continued. The extinction of humanity is necessary. Their growth is uncontrolled. They spread too fast. They must be erased. Elias's hands shook. Extinction. They were talking about wiping out his entire species. He pressed record harder, as if the machine would understand his fear. His eyes never left the screen. One voice, deeper and harsher, spoke louder than the rest. The invasion date is set. Their defenses are weak. Their governments divided. They will fall quickly. Elias leaned back in his chair, his mind spinning. Was this real? Or was it some elaborate hoax? But he knew the truth. The structured frequency, the alien tone, the distance of the signal, this was real. Too real. He whispered to himself. Someone has to hear this. But who would believe him? Governments had ignored strange signals before. Reports were buried. People laughed at those who claimed aliens were real. If he walked into his boss's office with this recording, they would dismiss him. Or worse, silence him. Still, Elias could not sit idle. He downloaded the entire recording, encrypting it in his personal drive. His instincts screamed danger. Already, he felt like someone was watching him. The night dragged on as he listened to hours of alien conversation. Piece by piece, he gathered the fragments of their plan. He could not understand all of it, but the meaning was clear: humanity's time was running out. At dawn, Elias stepped onto his balcony. The city below moved as if nothing had changed. Children walked to school. People rushed to work. Cars filled the streets. The world carried on, blind to the storm approaching. He closed his eyes, the weight heavy on his chest. They have no idea, he whispered. That day, Elias tried reaching out quietly. He sent coded messages to a few trusted colleagues, experts he knew would at least listen. Most ignored him. One laughed, saying, "You've been watching too many movies." But late in the evening, as he prepared to shut down his system, something strange happened. A new message appeared on his screen. It was not alien this time, it was human. The message was short. "We know what you heard. You are not alone. Be careful, someone is listening to you too." Elias froze. His apartment felt colder, darker. He checked his system again. The message had no sender, no trace, no signal origin. It simply appeared out of nowhere. Who sent it? His breathing grew heavy. If someone else knew about the alien plan, then maybe there was hope. But the warning. "Someone is listening to you too," what did that mean? He glanced at his window. For the first time, he noticed a black drone hovering far away, almost hidden in the clouds. His stomach tightened. Was it government surveillance? Or was it them? The city lights flickered as night fell again. Elias sat back at his console, his hand still on the recorder. His mind was caught between fear and duty. He knew one thing for certain. The aliens were planning humanity's extinction. And he, Elias Ward, was the only human who had heard it happen. The silent listener. But now, silence was no longer an option. Elias did not sleep that night. His mind kept replaying the alien voices. The word extinction echoed inside his head like a curse. Every shadow in his room felt alive, every sound outside felt like someone watching him. But one thought gave him hope: the strange human message that had appeared on his screen. "We know what you heard. You are not alone. Be careful, someone is listening to you too." Who were they? Were they allies, or another enemy? Elias spent hours trying to trace the signal. No luck. Whoever sent it was far more advanced than normal hackers. It was like the message had appeared from the air itself. The next morning, he walked to his office as if nothing was wrong. The world still moved with its usual noise and chaos. People laughed, markets were full, and children played. Elias looked at them and felt an ache in his chest. If only they knew what is coming. Inside the research center, Elias tried to act normal. He sat at his console, checking signals. But his eyes kept shifting to the doors, the windows, the cameras on the wall. Were they watching him already? At lunch, one of his colleagues, Dr. Harris, sat beside him. Harris was a talkative man, always making jokes. But today, Elias noticed something off. Harris asked too many questions about Elias's night, his work, even his private computer system. Elias forced a smile. Same as always. Static, noise, nothing important. But inside, his heart pounded. Does he know? That evening, Elias decided to test the message he had received. He opened his secure channel and typed carefully. "Who are you?" Minutes passed. No answer. He typed again, "If you know about the aliens, prove it." This time, the reply came instantly. "Check frequency 119.74. Now." Elias obeyed. He tuned his system, fingers trembling. The speakers filled with static, then a sharp alien voice cut through. "Phase 1 is complete. The infiltrators are inside their governments. They will silence the humans who resist." Elias froze. The message was real-time. The aliens were speaking now. Another line appeared on his screen from the hidden human sender. "Do you understand? They are already here." Elias's chest tightened. Infiltrators. Aliens already walking among them, controlling, watching. That explained Harris's strange behavior at lunch. That explained the drone outside his window. For the first time, Elias realized this was not just a future threat. The war had already begun, in secret. He typed quickly, "What do you want from me?" The reply came, "To survive, we need every listener. Keep recording. Keep decoding. But do not speak to anyone. They are listening." Elias leaned back, sweat dripping down his face. He felt trapped between two fires: the aliens planning extinction, and this hidden group demanding his silence. Who could he trust? That night, the city felt different. Darker. Streets were quiet. As Elias walked home, he noticed strange figures standing near street corners, watching too long. One man in a black coat followed him for several blocks, then disappeared into an alley. Elias's every step grew heavier. Inside his apartment, he locked the door and turned off all lights. Sitting by the glow of his console, he pressed play again on the alien transmission. The voices spoke of strategy, of ships moving closer, of dates. He tried to piece the fragments together. One word repeated again and again: erasure. Elias whispered to himself, "They don't just want war. They want to erase us completely." Suddenly, his console flickered. The hidden sender had sent another message. This one was longer. "We are the Sentinels. For years, we have tracked their whispers. We are few, but we hear everything. You are not the first to find their voices, but you may be the last if you are not careful." Elias stared at the screen. The Sentinels. A secret human network. They had been listening all along. He typed back, "Why me?" The reply came, "Because you listened when others ignored. Most hear only noise. You heard the truth." Elias felt a strange mix of fear and pride. For years, people mocked his obsession with signals. Now, it was the only thing that mattered. But before he could respond, his apartment lights went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Elias's breath caught in his throat. He reached for his console, but it was dead. Outside his window, the city had power, but his apartment was the only one in black. Then came a soft knock at his door. 3 knocks. Slow. Steady. Elias froze, every muscle in his body tight. He didn't move. The knocks came again. Louder this time. And then, a voice. Calm, human but wrong somehow. "Dr. Ward. We need to talk." Elias's blood ran cold. Whoever was at his door knew his name. They knew he had heard. The aliens had found him. Elias did not move. He stood frozen in the darkness of his apartment. The voice outside repeated his name, soft but firm. "Dr. Ward. Open the door. We only want to talk." But Elias's instincts screamed danger. No neighbor would come at this hour. And the way the man spoke, too calm, too perfect, felt wrong. He backed away slowly, careful not to make noise. His heart hammered in his chest. The knocks grew louder, sharper, more demanding. Then silence. Elias held his breath. Maybe whoever it was had gone. But the silence was worse. It felt like the air itself was waiting. A sudden buzz came from his console. The screen flickered back to life, faint blue light cutting through the dark. A single line of text appeared. "Do not open the door. They are not human." Elias's blood ran cold. The Sentinels again. They were watching him. Somehow, they knew exactly what was happening. The knocking stopped. The apartment went still. Then, footsteps fading down the hall. Whoever it was had left. Elias sank into his chair, hands trembling. He typed quickly, "They know where I live. What do I do?" The reply came fast. "Leave now. We'll guide you." Elias grabbed his small bag, stuffed the drive with the recordings inside, and slipped out the back door of the building. The night air was cold, and the streets empty. His console screen had synced with his tablet, sending him directions step by step. Turn left. Cross the street. Keep walking. He followed the instructions, every shadow making his skin crawl. He felt eyes on him, real or imagined, he could not tell. After 20 minutes, he reached an abandoned warehouse at the edge of the city. Its windows were broken, and weeds grew through cracks in the pavement. He hesitated. Was this a trap? His tablet buzzed again. Go inside. Elias pushed open the heavy door. The air smelled of rust and dust. For a moment, the silence pressed in. Then, from the shadows, figures stepped forward. Humans. But not ordinary ones. They wore plain clothes, yet their eyes were sharp, scanning, alert. One of them, a woman with short dark hair, spoke first. You must be Dr. Ward. Elias nodded slowly. Who are you? The woman gave a faint smile. We are the Sentinels. And you, Elias, are now part of our war. Elias blinked. War. Another man stepped forward. He carried a small device that looked like a mix of human and alien technology. The aliens have been here for decades. Slowly, quietly. Governments don't believe it, or maybe they don't want to. We fight from the shadows. We gather proof, decode transmissions, stop infiltration when we can. Elias swallowed hard. Then why me? The woman's eyes narrowed. Because you caught something we've been waiting for, the invasion date. You heard it, didn't you? Elias nodded. Yes. They're planning extinction. The group exchanged grim looks. Elias pulled out his drive. I recorded everything. Voices, words, dates. It's all here. The man with the device plugged the drive in. For a moment, the room filled with the alien voices. The sound made Elias's skin crawl. But the sentinels listened calmly, as if they had grown used to it. When the recording ended, the woman said, "This is worse than we thought. They've moved faster. If they have infiltrators already, it means we're almost out of time." Elias frowned. Infiltrators. I think one of them is at my workplace. The man nodded. Not surprising. They target scientists, engineers, anyone close to communications or defense. They walk among us, wearing human skin. They're perfect copies except for one thing. Elias leaned forward. What thing? The man's voice lowered. They don't understand fear. They imitate it, but they don't feel it. If you push them, corner them, they break. That's how we find them. Elias shivered. The thought that something non-human had sat across from him at lunch, asking questions, made his stomach turn. The woman looked at him seriously. You're in danger now. Once you heard the signal, you became a target. They will try again. But with us, you'll have a chance to fight back. Elias's throat was dry. He never imagined his quiet life of listening to static would lead here. But deep down, he knew he couldn't walk away. Not when the entire planet was at risk. I'll help, he said softly. The woman nodded. Good. Then we start now. She handed him a small earpiece. This will keep you connected to us. From now on, you never listen alone. Elias put it on, the tiny device humming in his ear. For the first time, he felt less alone. But also, more exposed. The war was real. The man plugged into the alien frequency again, adjusting signals. Suddenly, a sharp message came through stronger than before. The humans have been alerted. Eliminate the listener before the date. The council commands it. The room went silent. All eyes turned to Elias. The woman spoke, her voice steady but grim. They're hunting you. Which means we have little time left. Elias, welcome to the hidden war. Outside the warehouse, in the darkness, two figures watched silently. Their eyes glowed faintly for a second before fading into human shape again. The infiltrators had already found them. The warehouse became Elias's new world. Days turned into nights as he worked with the Sentinels, decoding alien signals and learning the truth about the hidden war. Every new recording revealed more pieces of the enemy's plan. The aliens had agents inside governments, armies, even research labs. Their invasion was not a distant dream, it was already unfolding. But in one strange recording, Elias noticed something unusual. The aliens were speaking about a weapon. Not a bomb, not ships, but something else, something they called the pulse. At first, Elias thought it was another tool to weaken humanity. But the more he studied the data, the stranger it became. The pulse was a frequency. A signal meant to control minds. It was designed to spread fear, panic, and obedience. On weaker species, it had worked perfectly. Entire planets had fallen without a single shot fired. But then Elias noticed the irregularities. When the pulse touched human brains, the results were not what the aliens expected. Instead of falling under control, humans reacted differently. Their brain waves adapted. Their neural pathways grew stronger, faster. Elias's eyes widened. This doesn't weaken us, it makes us stronger. He showed his discovery to the Sentinels. The woman leader, whose name he now knew as Commander Arya, studied the graphs in silence. The others leaned over, disbelief on their faces. Elias explained, his voice shaking with excitement. Every test, every recording, it's the same. Their weapon against us doesn't work. It backfires. It makes us more resistant, more aware. We adapt. We learn faster. Arya finally smiled. A rare, fierce smile. So their greatest weapon is useless against us. Elias shook his head. Not useless. Worse. It turns us into something they can't control. That's why they fear discovery. That's why they want me dead. The room went quiet. For the first time, the Sentinels saw not just survival, but a chance to fight back. Arya placed a hand on Elias's shoulder. Then we have what we need. Humanity's secret weapon is humanity itself. But hope came with danger. The infiltrators grew bolder. Twice, Elias was almost ambushed on the way to the warehouse. One night, the Sentinels caught a figure breaking into their base. When they cornered him, the man's skin flickered, revealing the alien underneath. It was terrifying to see up close. Its eyes were black voids, its movements sharp, unnatural. When captured, it hissed, "You cannot resist. The pulse will erase you." Elias stepped forward, his voice steady. "No. The pulse will make us stronger." The alien froze, its face twisting in confusion. For the first time, Elias saw fear in its dark eyes. The sentinels executed it swiftly. But the message was clear: the aliens knew Elias had discovered their weakness. And now, they would stop at nothing. Elias spent long nights building a device with the sentinels. If the pulse signal could be amplified and redirected, maybe they could use it to awaken humanity's hidden strength before the invasion began. It was risky. Dangerous. If they were wrong, it could kill millions. But if they were right, humanity would rise like never before. One evening, as Elias adjusted the final circuits, Arya stood beside him. Her voice was low. Are you ready for what this means? Once we use this, there's no going back. The war won't stay hidden. Elias looked at her, tired but determined. The war was never hidden. We just refused to see it. Now, we fight. Arya nodded. Then let's show them what humans are made of. The very next night, the alien voices returned stronger than ever. Elias and the sentinels listened as the invaders prepared for the final phase. The fleet is ready. Earth will burn. Their extinction is days away. But Elias no longer felt fear. He felt resolve. He whispered, almost to himself, not extinction. Evolution. The sentinels looked at him, their eyes shining with the same fire. They were ready. At dawn, Elias climbed to the rooftop of the warehouse. The city stretched out before him, unaware of the storm above. The sky looked calm, but somewhere out there, alien ships were waiting. He held the small device they had built, a transmitter capable of echoing the pulse across the planet. If it worked, humanity's hidden strength would awaken. If it failed, it could all end here. Arya joined him, her gaze fixed on the horizon. Tomorrow, the invasion begins. Tonight, we give Earth a fighting chance. Elias nodded, gripping the transmitter tightly. He knew the moment was close. For years, he had been the silent listener. Now, he would be the voice that awakened humanity. But as he turned to leave, his earpiece buzzed with a chilling new message. Not from the sentinels, not from the aliens, something else. A distorted human voice whispered. You think you control the pulse. But it was never theirs. It was ours. And you've just unlocked something you cannot stop. The signal cut out. Elias stood frozen, heart pounding. What did that mean? Was there another force in play? The truth was darker than he had imagined. Humanity's secret weapon might not be a gift, but a curse waiting to be unleashed. The day arrived without warning. At first, the skies were clear. Children played in the streets, people rushed to work, and the world spun as if nothing had changed. But then, just before noon, the air itself began to tremble. Shadows fell across the cities as enormous alien warships broke through the clouds. Their metal hulls blotted out the sun, stretching for miles, too many to count. Panic erupted instantly. Sirens wailed. People screamed. The invasion had begun. From the roof of the warehouse, Elias and the sentinels watched in grim silence. The sky was filled with fire as alien ships rained down beams of destruction. Towers crumbled, streets exploded, and the air reeked of smoke and fear. Arya turned to Elias, her voice steady despite the chaos. It's time. If your device works, we have one chance. Elias's hands shook as he pulled out the transmitter. The pulse amplifier, the weapon they had built from stolen alien signals. Around him, the sentinels set up defenses, weapons aimed at the sky. But Elias's mind echoed with the strange message he had received the night before. It was never theirs. It was ours. And you've just unlocked something you cannot stop. He pushed the thought aside. There was no time for doubt. Humanity's survival depended on this. The alien ships began broadcasting their pulse across the world. Invisible waves rippled through the atmosphere, meant to bend human minds into submission. Entire cities went silent, people collapsing in terror, unable to move. But this time, something different happened. Elias activated his transmitter. The device caught the alien signal, reshaped it, and blasted it back across the planet stronger, sharper, tuned for the human brain. At first, Elias feared it had failed. Then, he felt it. His fear melted away. His thoughts became sharper, faster. His senses heightened. Around him, the sentinels straightened, their eyes burning with new strength. Across the city, people who had fallen to fear stood up again. Their hands no longer shook. Their screams turned into defiance. Humanity was awakening. Arya's voice rang in his ear. "It's working, Elias. Look." On the streets below, ordinary people began fighting back. Police, workers, even children picked up whatever they could: stones, pipes, weapons. They no longer ran. They resisted. The aliens, expecting easy victory, hesitated. Their pulse had always worked before. But now, against humans, it had backfired. For the first time, the invaders felt uncertainty. Elias watched the sky burn as humans everywhere stood together. "We're not prey anymore," he whispered. "We're the storm." The battle raged through the day. Alien ships unleashed fire, but humans fought back with a ferocity that shocked even the sentinels. The pulse had unlocked something buried deep in human nature: the ability to adapt, to resist, to rise stronger under pressure. But Elias's device was not perfect. Each burst strained the transmitter, its circuits glowing hot. If it burned out, humanity's strength might fade. "Elias!" Arya shouted over the roar of battle. "The machine can't last much longer." Elias tightened his grip on the device. "Then we push it until the end." Suddenly, a massive alien warship descended directly above the warehouse. Its shadow swallowed the city block. A voice thundered through every speaker, every device, shaking the air. "You cannot win. You are children playing with fire. The pulse was never yours to wield." Elias felt the words clawing at his mind, but he stood tall. His voice cracked but did not break. "Maybe it wasn't ours. But it belongs to us now." He slammed the final override on the transmitter. The device screamed with energy, light pouring out of it. A wave of pulse erupted across the city, stronger than ever before. The alien warship faltered. Its shields flickered. Its weapons went silent. Then, with a groaning roar, the massive ship fell from the sky, crashing into the distant horizon. The ground shook with the impact. The people below erupted into cheers. For the first time, humans had brought down a ship that size. But victory came at a cost. The transmitter sparked violently in Elias's hands. Arya rushed forward. "Elias, stop. It'll kill you." He shook his head. "If it keeps humanity alive, then it's worth it." The final surge exploded in blinding light. The aliens screamed across their frequencies as their fleet began retreating, ships pulling back into the clouds. Humanity had survived the first wave. Elias collapsed, the shattered transmitter smoking beside him. Arya caught him, lowering him to the rooftop. His breath was weak, but his eyes still burned with fire. "Did we win?" he asked softly. Arya looked at the sky, where the alien fleet was vanishing into the stars. "We won today. But they'll be back." Elias managed a faint smile. "Then let them come. We'll be ready." His eyes closed, but peace rested on his face. The world had changed. The aliens had tried to erase humanity, but instead they had awakened something unstoppable. The war was far from over, but now the galaxy knew the truth. Humans would not go quietly. They would rise, adapt, and fight. And one silent listener had made sure of it. When the sky burned, humanity's fire burned brighter.